More backlash today for Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis after their video explaining why they wrote letters of support for convicted Danny Masterson.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you have one, yeah.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell.
Christina Ricci has never been one to hold back, and now she's pulling back the curtain on her true feelings about Ashton Kutcher. In a candid revelation that's turning heads across Hollywood, Ricci has opened up about a long-standing grudge against the star, exposing unsettling experiences that left her delusioned, from uncomfortable on-set encounters to deeper issues with Kutcher's behavior behind the scenes. Ricci is finally shedding light on why she kept her distance and why she's no longer staying silent. Christina Ricci exposes why she despises Ashton Kutcher, and according to her, it's not just personal, it's deeply disturbing. This goes far beyond a Hollywood feud. It's about Ashton's own questionable actions, his unsettling ties to disgraced actor Danny Masterson, and shocking new accusations made by one of Masterson's victims that directly implicate Kutcher.
Kutcher told the jury when he eventually learned that Ashley had been murdered, he, quote, freaked out, knowing his fingerprints were on her door.
Ricci didn't name names, but her words cut deep. She called out the way certain men in the industry are praised as awesome guys, warning that defending them, despite their actions, is a crime in itself. Her statement quickly resurfaced alongside unsettling old footage of Ashton Kutcher laughing, partying, and getting uncomfortably close with circles that included none other than Diddy, raising even more questions about the company he keeps.
What do you have here, Rob? What clip is this with Kutcher?
So this is Ashton Kutcher. He was on the Hot Ones.
Go ahead. No, it's okay.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you have one.
This isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. And if Christina Ricci's warning is rooted in what many believe it is, then Ashton Kutcher has far more to answer for than the public realizes. The footage no one talks about paints a darker picture, especially when you look at who Kutcher surrounded himself with. One of his closest friends, Sean Diddy Combs, a man with a long and complicated legacy. Diddy, who first made waves in the 90s New York scene as P. Diddy, later Puffy, and then Just Love, founded Bad Boy Records in 1993. The label exploded in success, turning into Bad Boy Entertainment, and along the way Diddy signed none other than the notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace, who at one point was generating millions for the label.
Puffy has been making money off of Biggie's name for longer than Biggie was alive. People keep forgetting he hadn't turned 25 yet. He was still 24 when he died. It's been over 25 years. Puffy has been making money on that boy's name longer than he lived.
But here's the thing. Combs wasn't just making headlines for his music. Far from it. He was everywhere. Fashion runways, reality TV shows, red carpets, you name it, he was there. And this is where things start to get interesting. As his fame soared, Combs began surrounding himself with some of Hollywood's biggest names, including Ashton Kutcher. That's right, Diddy and Ashton weren't just acquaintances, they were tight. Frequently spotted together at parties and industry events, their close bond raised more than a few eyebrows.
Our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked, because he was like, yo,
don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table.
So how did these two even link up? It all started with Punk'd. Yep, that iconic MTV prank show Ashton Kutcher hosted in the early 2000s. But Diddy didn't just stop at being a fan. He was making major moves on MTV too, producing multiple seasons of Making the Band, where aspiring artists battled it out for stardom. During this era of reality TV domination, Ashton and Diddy were often seen side by side at red carpets, exclusive events, and some of the wildest parties in Hollywood. One of the biggest? Diddy's infamous Labor Day White Party. Back in 2010, Ashton was a regular attendee at these ultra-bourgeois all-white dress code bashes, where what happened behind the scenes was anyone's guess. And here's a little throwback nugget. When Time magazine named Ashton one of the 100 most influential people that year, guess who wrote his tribute? Diddy himself. He called Ashton a sounding board, saying, "But we are still friends." Not that cliche of, let's make a move, let's do a deal. He's a sounding board for me. Like me, he's a mogul, a new media mogul. But we are yin and yang. I'm in your face and he's understated cool suave. But fast forward to 2019, and Ashton's on Hot Ones, sweating it out while munching on spicy wings. When host Sean Evans brought up Diddy's legendary parties, Ashton got cagey, and let's just say there were a lot of stories he claimed he couldn't tell.
Okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. Can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but...
With Diddy now facing serious charges ranging from SA to racketeering, many are starting to question just how much Ashton Kutcher really knew. And while he hasn't been directly accused, one thing is becoming clear. Ashton isn't the innocent bystander he once appeared to be. In fact, 2023 marked a turning point for both Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Their carefully crafted, squeaky clean public image took a dramatic nosedive, not because of gossip, but because of a very public scandal involving someone they once considered family, Danny Masterson. Yes, that Danny Masterson, the one convicted on multiple counts of SA. And despite the severity of the charges, Ashton and Mila stood behind him, publicly. But what truly sent shockwaves through the public were the clips that resurfaced soon after.
She's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18.
The Kutchers quickly found themselves at the center of major backlash, one that stemmed from their decision to publicly support Danny Masterson, even after he already faced legal consequences for multiple allegations of SA. Their show of loyalty didn't set well with the public, especially as Masterson's conviction brought long-buried truths to light. What once looked like unwavering friendship now appeared to many as a troubling refusal to hold a pred accountable.
Danny Masterson was sentenced to 30 years in prison after being convicted of those two rapes earlier this year.
The backlash against Ashton and Mila was swift, and it didn't just come from strangers on the internet. It hit from within Hollywood itself. One of the first public figures to speak out was Christina Ricci. In a pointed series of Instagram stories, she didn't mention any names, but the message was unmistakable. The timing, the wording, the context. It was crystal clear who she was calling out. Ricci wrote, "So sometimes people we loved and admired do horrible things. They might not do these things to us, and we only know what they were to us, but that doesn't mean that they didn't do the horrible things. And to discredit the aid is a crime. People we know as awesome guys can be preds and Ayers. It's tough to accept, but we have to. If we say we support victims, women, children, men, and boys, then we must be able to take this stance." The rest of her statement read, "Unfortunately, I've known lots of awesome guys who were lovely to me, but have been proven to be Ayers privately. I've also had personal experiences with this. Believe victims. It's not easy to come forward. It's not easy to get a conviction." Her words landed like a punch, raw, direct, and impossible to ignore. Ricci didn't hold back, and fans quickly applauded her courage for saying what so many had been thinking but were too afraid to say out loud. For years, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were seen as Hollywood's golden couple, quirky, charming, and refreshingly down-to-earth. But that carefully crafted image came crashing down when a scandal forced the world to take a much closer look at who they really were and what they were willing to defend. To understand just how serious things got, you have to look at the whole timeline. In May 2023, Danny Masterson was convicted of two women in the early 2000s. Despite the gravity of the conviction, Ashton and Mila submitted glowing character letters on his behalf just a few months later between July and August. These weren't friendly notes, they were formal statements addressed directly to Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Charlene Almeida, intended to influence Masterson's sentencing. In his letter, Kutcher praised Masterson as a role model with an outstanding role model and friend. Mila echoed the same sentiment, calling Masterson an exceptional older brother figure who inspired her to avoid substance A throughout her career, and even crediting him for keeping her off S's. Kutcher wrote, "One of the most remarkable aspects of Danny's character is his unwavering commitment to discourage the use of D's. His influence on me in this regard has been invaluable. In an industry where the pressures and temptations of substance use can be overwhelming, Danny played a pivotal role in guiding me away from such destructive paths. His dedication to avoiding all substances has inspired not only me, but also countless others in our circle. Danny's steadfastness in promoting a D-free lifestyle has been a guiding light in my journey through the entertainment world and has helped me prioritize my well-being and focus on making responsible choices." But when the public got wind of those letters, outrage ensued. The couple tried to contain the damage by releasing a joint video apology on a warm Saturday afternoon. In the clip, visibly uncomfortable, they claimed they only wrote the letters because Masterson's family had asked them to.
couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years.
Still, many felt the damage had already been done, and no amount of PR cleanup could fix what their words had exposed. Kutcher attempted to clarify their intent, stating they were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that, and we're sorry if that has taken place. Kounis even added, "We supported victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future." The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling. Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of SA or R. But critics weren't buying it. The backlash only intensified after their video dropped, with many calling the apology hollow and overly rehearsed. Journalist Yashar Ali took to X to call them out, writing, "It's important to note that the letters weren't just character letters you'd write for a friend. The letters, which contained a great deal of Scientology phrasing, were intended to undermine the victims who were deed by Danny." His post struck a nerve, fueling a growing wave of anger from both the public and within the entertainment industry. Many saw the letters not just as misguided, but as a deliberate attempt to protect a pred at the expense of the women he harmed. Another person said, "They're actors, and they couldn't even pretend they meant these words. I guess they needed a director for this sad excuse of an apology. Very pathetic." At the same time, fans couldn't ignore the glaring irony. Ashton Kutcher, who co-founded Thorn, a nonprofit dedicated to fighting child SA and exploitation, was now publicly defended a convicted artist. Social media lit up with outrage, with users pointing out the contradiction between his advocacy work and his support of Danny Masterson. For many, it felt like a betrayal. How could someone who champions protecting victims turn around and vouch for someone convicted of causing them harm? The dissonance was impossible to ignore. And it's one of the key reasons why Ashton's name just won't stop coming up in conversations around this scandal.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
Meanwhile, after the backlash exploded, Christina Ricci returned to Instagram stories to clarify her earlier comments. While many believe she was directly calling out Ashton and Mila, Ricci insisted that wasn't her intention, at least not entirely. "What I wrote wasn't meant to seem so pointed," she began in the post to her 1.6 million followers. "It's just something I've been thinking about generally as different individuals' wrongdoings have come to light over the past couple of years, and I too have found it difficult to reconcile the person or people I knew with the things that they've done," she finished. But yes, recent events have made me think more about this. Her previous words, especially the part where she labeled discrediting victims as a crime, sparked renewed speculation. Fans began to wonder if Ricci was implying something more serious, that celebrities who publicly defended Masterson like Ashton and Mila might also bear some moral or even legal responsibility. And just when things couldn't get more chaotic, a new report surfaced claiming that Ashton's biggest fear right now isn't public backlash, it's Diddy turning on him.
And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out, watch football together.
According to a source who spoke with the Daily Mail, Kutcher is terrified that Diddy, now under legal fire himself, might start exposing secrets from Hollywood's inner circle in a desperate attempt to save himself. Ashton absolutely regrets his friendship with Diddy, considering what has happened, an insider told thedailymail.com. He feels lied to, betrayed, taken for granted, and manipulated. The source added that Kutcher feels the same way about Danny Masterson, and that entire experience has left him deeply paranoid and distrustful. He feels the same way about Danny Masterson. He now trusts no one except for his wife, Mila Kunis. He is going to keep his circle to his family. But here's where things take a darker and more unsettling turn. Fans recently began to question whether Ashton Kutcher is as innocent as he wants the world to believe. One of Danny Masterson's accusers, Chrissy Bixler, who once dated Masterson and later came forward with her own claims of SA, took direct aim at Ashton after his in-court support of his former co-star. And she didn't just speak out, she brought receipts. In 2023, Chrissy took to Instagram with a chilling message directed straight at Kutcher. "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I hear everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor." The date she referenced? It wasn't random. It was the night before one of Hollywood's most shocking crimes, the brutal end of 22-year-old Ashley Ellerin. Ashley was a vibrant fashion student with her whole life ahead of her. In the early hours of February 22, 2001, she was found dead in her Hollywood Hills home with a knife used on her 47 times. She had been getting ready for a date with none other than Ashton Kutcher. According to Kutcher's later testimony, he arrived at her house that night, knocked on the door, and left when she didn't answer, assuming she had stood him up. What he didn't know at the time was that Ashley had already been M'd inside.
Mr. Kutcher looked in the window and saw what he thought was spilled wine on the floor. We believe now the evidence will show that was actually.
Now, with Chrissy Bixler dragging Kutcher's name into the spotlight again and suggesting he was involved in disturbing conversations that night, people are starting to question just how deep Ashton's ties run, not just to Masterson, but to a side of Hollywood most would rather pretend doesn't exist. Chrissy also sent a message to Mila writing, "I pray you begin to process what you've experienced as a child on that set. Your old interviews are very telling." As if things couldn't get any darker, there's the haunting case of Ashton Kutcher's former girlfriend, Brittany Murphy, a tragedy that still raises eyebrows to this day. The two started dating after meeting on the set of Just Married, and while their relationship lasted only 5 months, it was intense. At one point, they even wore matching rings, sparking rumors of a secret engagement. Then on December 20th, 2009, Hollywood was stunned by the sudden and tragic news of Brittany Murphy's death. Best known for her roles in Clueless and 8 Mile, Brittany was just 32 when she collapsed in the bathroom of her Hollywood Hills mansion. She had reportedly been feeling ill for days with flu-like symptoms. Her mother, Sharon Murphy, who lived with Brittany and her husband, Simon Monjack, called 911. But despite emergency efforts, Brittany was pronounced dead at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center.
Hollywood is mourning the loss of Brittany Murphy this morning. The 32-year-old actress died on Sunday from what officials say appear to be natural causes.
The official cause of death was listed as pneumonia, anemia, and a combination of prescription and over-the-counter medications. No illegal substances were found, yet her sudden passing sparked endless speculation. How could a healthy, vibrant young woman deteriorate so quickly?
Brittany was not taking any medication for her mood, for anorexia, for any kind of mental illness.
Then, just 5 months later, the story took a chilling twist. On May 23, 2010, Brittany's husband, Simon Monjack, was also found dead in the exact same home. Like Brittany, he died of acute pneumonia and severe anemia. The eerie similarity reignited theories that something sinister was at play.
Do you believe your daughter was murdered?
I absolutely do.
Something made her sick.
All of this, Brittany's death, Ashley's death, Simon's passing, might have remained buried in Hollywood shadows until Christina Ricci spoke up. Her fearless words ripped the bandage off a carefully concealed wound in the industry, and suddenly people started connecting the dots. Kutcher's public support for a convicted pred, his on-camera moments that haven't aged well, his deep ties to Diddy's now crumbling empire. It's not just one moment or one bad decision. It's a disturbing pattern that stretches over decades. As the fallout from the Masterson case unfolds and Diddy's secrets threaten to spill into the open, Ashton Kutcher's name keeps surfacing again and again. Christina Ricci said it best. People who discredit victims should be considered criminals. And based on what's been revealed, Ashton may no longer be remembered as the lovable goof from that 70s show. Instead, he might be seen as someone who's been shielded for far too long.